Welcome to 15 with Christine. Jacob Toler, owner of Red Branch Outdoor Solutions, is our special guest today. So let's get started. On 15 with Christine, we talk about all things business growth. But before we dive in on the conversation, I want to let you know where you can find the podcast. I'm going to come to you live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Hit the subscribe button and you won't miss an episode. Well, we're here to talk with Jacob Toler, owner of Red Branch Outdoor Solutions. Jacob, welcome.
Hey, how's it going, Christine?
Going well. So glad to have you in for this conversation. For those of you that are listening, I actually had the privilege of, meeting Jacob, I think early last year. Jacob, I remember when you first reached out to me, you had moved to Mobile, you were getting your business started, and, you knew that you wanted to bring in revenue and start on the right foot. And that's why you reached out to talk with me. And, because you had heard about success that others in your industry had applying Sandler. But I'd like to take a step back and ask, how did you take that jump into entrepreneurship, into planning for your own success?
Yeah, so, making that jump into entrepreneurship can somewhat be risky.
Yes.
It can scare people a lot, but so many of my mentors had told me that the only thing that they regret doing is not doing it soon enough. And I think that's so crucial, is that you just have to get started and maybe have a little bit of savings just in that buffer zone while you're growing,
Yes.
but really just jump in, start learning, start growing, start practicing these skills, and you'll make something of it.
So how did you learn? Because I could tell that you very much had a plan for how you wanted to develop all of the processes in your business. I mean, of course, your sales process is one of them, but knowing how you got started, Jacob, who did you learn from? How did you put that plan together to get started?
So I actually moved down from Kansas City to Mobile. So it was it was a long distance travel for me. I was moving to a new town and starting a business at the exact same time. Uh-huh. So I had this buffer time in between leaving my old company and starting this new one, where, it was a grind. I was learning everything I could. I was working with small business development centers, finding mentors, coaches, folks like you who can provide value and get a business really up and going quickly.
Yes.
So that, those first 5 months were behind the scenes working to get things up and going so that when the business finally launched, we were ready to rock and roll.
That's exciting. So how would you describe the opportunity for businesses like yours in the Mobile area?
I'd say it's a huge opportunity. It's with COVID changed so many industries, but it changed this outdoor living space industry for the better. People were at their homes and people were spending more time at home. And so, what better to do than to not put off that deck remodel project that you've been looking at, or to put an outdoor kitchen in your backyard so that you can have, friends and family over and spend time there instead of having to go out to a restaurant. So COVID made a big difference. Plus we're in the South, which is such a beautiful, warm place most of the year. And it's just a great niche to be in.
So Jacob, we're going to see a few pictures of your work here on the screen. What would your best homeowner clients say about working with you? How would they describe the process? How would they describe the experience?
Yeah, so that's something that we've really tried to focus on, because when you're building a project of these scales, um, people want to work with people that are trustworthy, that are
Yes.
clear with expectations, but also communication is so key. And in our industry, unfortunately, in construction, communication seems to be that thing that a lot of people struggle with, and contractors not getting back or communicating things in a timely manner. And so that was something that we really focused on. And our customers would say that, above all, our professionalism and our
Yes.
communication are what sets us apart.
So if you break it down, can you describe what you do differently from a communication standpoint? Because we've had work done on our house and definitely experienced those frustrations. Even working with contractors who work to do a good job on communication. But you're right, it's hard. So what sets you apart, and how do you do it can you give us a specific example or details of a specific process of how you really deliver that?
Sure. So the easiest way, I think, to deliver that
Yes.
would be a simple CRM system.
Yes.
They make tons of them. There's tons of companies that have them, and
Yes.
there's so many cool automations that you can build into these systems, so that I'm reminded, oh hey, I haven't reached out to this customer that we completed a job on 6 months ago.
Right.
Maybe I should reach out and say, hey, how's it going? Is everything working the way that we left it? And
Right.
do you need anything? Doing things like that, or calling, setting up alerts to make sure we follow up with the new lead as fast as possible, and keeping track of that person,
Right.
so that they actually feel like they are, like we're personally connected to them. We remember their story
Yes.
because we're writing it down. I
Yes.
think technology plays a huge part in really helping to keep communication current.
That's a great point. But you know what, Jacob? I also hear you connecting the dots to your conversations.
That's right.
Connecting the dots, because we all take advantage of technology, I think, in our businesses. But I think we have to ask the question, how are we truly adopting them? And then how do the tools and the CRM technologies, how do they impact how we have our conversations and how we execute that loop of communication with another person?
That's right. Yep.
So as you have been building your business, I know you've added to your team. How would you describe, implementing the Sandler process to help get your top line revenue moving, so you could add people, so you could grow? What did that mean for you? I was so impressed with you as a young business owner that you reached out, because of what you had learned from others about how you could apply the Sandler methodology.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I worked with some mentors who had grown, you know, $10 million businesses.
Yes.
And I said, what do I need to do to get to that point? And one of the first few things they said was, well, sign up with Sandler, learn their system, build it out your own, and
Yes.
go with it. And that was so big and so crucial, because, the things I learned from Sandler, aside from the things that you probably can't put on paper, are confidence when you're in a sales
Yes.
environment.
Yes.
Just knowing the next thing to say, and not resorting back to old habits.
Right.
Those types of things. But then some of the more tactical things that you can see are, well, our process, our actual written down sales process that we follow.
Yes.
When do we communicate? How do we communicate? What are those words? Setting up front contracts, all these things that Sandler mentions, that help build out a really valuable structure and help us sell to that higher level client.
Yes.
And more often.
Thank you for sharing that. When it comes to really resonating with your ideal client, that client who is ready for a project, ready to invest in a high quality outcome, someone maybe who can even see in their mind's eye what they want in their backyard. You know, that process starts with your new team member who's in the office.
Yep.
And I know you've reached out to me, and I've started the process of working with Holly. You know, as a business owner you're probably really in that J curve where you're growing fast. So you're having to spend money to grow. What was it like for you making the decision to invest in her, to invest in that experience when people call Red Branch Construction and they're having a conversation, to invest in that initial process? What was it like for you weighing that?
So that's a good question. Every new step, I think, like bringing on an office manager and taking
Yes.
that next step is
Yes.
always a tough decision to make, because it's hard not to just look at the bottom line. But
Right.
when what you're missing in that calculation of looking at past data is how much more revenue and maybe how many more people you could help by organizing yourself and being able to sell more projects.
Yes.
And
Yes.
ultimately, selling more projects doesn't start with me in the field as the salesman going out and meet with these folks. It's that very first call. And
Yes.
so Holly, who is a wonderful office manager who takes all of our calls, and is, that first impression with all folks that call in, it's crucial that she knows just the right things to say, just how to ask the right leading questions and draw that information out of people so that we can determine, okay, are they a client that we need to go out and visit with?
Yes.
Or are we maybe not the best fit for them, and we just need to find another solution for them that may not be us? So it was a really simple decision at the end of the day, actually, that providing her with some sales training and developing her as a person, but also
Yes.
To help us in the business. She's just that first line of defense for us, and it was
Right.
it was a no-brainer.
So Jacob, if you were to, just wave a magic wand, and we're looking 3 years ahead, where do you see yourself? Where do you see Red Branch Outdoor Solutions?
Yeah, so we we hope to expand into a building of our own. We hope to add on many more crews. Right now,
Yes.
we're at 2 crews that are working full time.
That's great.
We'd also like to add on some salesmen in the future, which, of course, we'll be coming back for help, and that especially will probably bring on, Christine, you and your expertise more in the hiring phase of that, so that we can test those folks and see
Yes.
who has those crucial skills to help us move the business forward.
Yeah, that's really insightful on your part to plan ahead for that. Because you probably know, I mean, one of the biggest challenges is hiring the right people.
That's right. Yeah, it really is.
So if people are in the Mobile area, can you share with us what geographic area do you serve? And if we have people who are listening, or who may even know people in the area, how can they learn more about Red Branch Construction? How can they see maybe even more pictures of your projects?
Yeah, so we are based in Daphne, Alabama,
Okay.
which is right along the eastern shore of the Mobile Bay.
Yes.
And we service our most popular areas are Spanish Fort,
Okay.
Daphne, and Fairhope, Alabama. But we will
Okay.
also go to Mobile and the West Mobile area. Folks often follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We also have a wonderful Pinterest account where we actually keep all of our information up if you just need to go on and find some ideas. And all of those are at Red Branch Outdoor Living.
At
So they
Red
can find
Branch
us
Outdoor
there.
Living. And I hear you're
Yep.
on TikTok too, right?
That's right. We've jumped on the train.
Good for you. Good for you. I am not on TikTok yet. My children might cringe, but we'll see. But if you'd like to reach out to Red Branch Outdoor Solutions, make sure and go to redbranchconstruction.com. You can reach them directly at build@redbranchconstruction.com. Jacob, thanks so much for the conversation. Really enjoyed it. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with another episode of 15 with Christine. Appreciate you listening in. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.